I am calling all of my nerdy, systems thinking, world changing designers. Enrollment for cohort 11 of the OUX certification program closes tomorrow. That is Friday, August 29th at 11:59 p.m. So if you are listening to this in sort of real time, you've probably got less than 24 hours to jump into this 10-week professional development experience of a lifetime. This program, it is premium. It is luxurious. You are so taken care of. You are going to work hard and you're going to transform. You're going to expand your capacity for complexity. You're going to learn to ask the best freaking questions that save time and money and sanity. And you'll master the art of X-ray UX, seeing into the bones of a system before jumping into screen design, where all the rework happens, right? When you jump into screen design too soon. You are also going to learn to collaborate like a boss across development, business, and content. And you're just going to internalize these deep, ancient truths of how humans actually perceive their world, whether it is a digital world or a physical world, okay? So that we can design systems that just feel naturally intuitive. So I also want you to know this is not just any cohort. Cohort 11 is getting a all new training refresh, rethink. We are tightening it. We are streamlining it. We are amplifying it. It is going to be the best one yet. We are releasing all new training videos. We are taking the last 10 cohorts of feedback, okay? We've been tweaking it and patchworking it and adding in feedback from the last 10 cohorts, but now we're taking those big ticket kind of like surgery type changes and rolling them all in to make such a better experience. So you're going to get a small group mentoring pod. You're going to get office hours with me. You're going to get more templates than you even know what to do with. Actually, you're going to know exactly what to do with the templates. And you're going to get access to all of this new training material. You'll be the first ones to get it. So the cart closes tomorrow. Do not miss this. If you have been thinking about it for a while, this is the time to jump on. So go to OUX.com/certification to get all the details. At least go and see that the program is not for you. Just make sure that it's not for you, okay? But I'm sure that once you go to OUX.com/certification, you're going to want to claim your spot. But read up on all the details there. I cannot wait to get to know you during cohort 11. Okay, let's jump into my rant about this little post that went kind of viral on LinkedIn and all my thoughts about it. If you're looking to level up your UX, content, or product design practice to confidently and joyfully tackle complexity, ask the million-dollar questions, and design digital systems that actually work, you are so in the right place. Welcome to the UX Level Up podcast. I'm Sophia Prater, and for over a decade, I've been teaching professionals how to make the most valuable and often invisible parts of UX gloriously visible. We will untangle the structure beneath the surface before jumping into screens, saving time, money, and headaches, and having so much fun doing it. Together, let's UX collaboration, break down silos, and build shared understanding that sets everyone up for success. Let's become the systems thinkers that our teams, and quite honestly, the world, are so desperately craving. Let's level up our practice and redefine what it means to be a UX designer. Let's jump into it. What is up, my amazing systems designers all over the world? I am coming into your earballs today on my soapbox. I'm stepping onto it right now to talk to you about something that pissed me off and really break it down. So it's just interesting to notice what makes you really mad, right? And last week, I got really mad and I was like, I gotta channel this. I gotta channel this anger. And so I've been writing about it. I've been speaking to this little microphone on my desk about it. And now we're here together to talk about it. So I came across a LinkedIn post and ended up in a very professional little debate. The post was some tough love advice for aspiring UX designers, basically saying, if you want to be a UX designer, here's what you're in for. Here's what you should expect. And the picture it painted was fucking grim. It said, you're not going to be designing experiences. You're going to be designing compromises. everything you imagine was just going to be butchered by scope cuts. And you're not really the voice of the user. Not really. You're just a translator, right? And just reduce the friction so users don't leave, right? Like, forget about actually satisfying anyone or providing any delight or transformation or any kind of world-changing ripple effects in the stuff that we're creating, in the systems that we are designing to make people's lives easier or help them get the outcomes that they're actually looking for. No, just like keep them here so that they continue paying their monthly fee. Like, just reduce the friction as much as possible so they don't hate the product and leave for a competitor. That's what you want to do. I'm embellishing a little bit, but that was the idea. And it continued with like, your process is never going to look like a beautiful double diamond and everyone is going to think that they can do your job. So you're not going to be appreciated. You're never going to really be able to influence the product. You're just going to like defend that critical 20%, like white knuckling a few things and just let the rest go. Like, you're just constantly going to be picking your battles and it's going to just be battles all the time. And the most heartbreaking part about this is this post was like going viral on LinkedIn. Like, for LinkedIn viral, it's like if you got a couple hundred comments, like people are seeing that shit. And this had like 300 comments and I'm scrolling through all of them and I'm like, everybody's agreeing with this. Literally everybody. There was like 2 people were like, I mean, actually some people were like, this is really grim, but I can't argue with it. Or like, truer words have never been spoken, and like plus 100. Like, everybody was just like, there was a few people that were truly new to UX and they were like, I just finished my boot camp and I was doing it because I really wanted to solve big problems and make the world a better place. And a lot of UX designers are really idealistic. Like, we're coming in to like fix things and make things better. I mean, even the post image said, passion led us here, because we were passionate about it. And this was like, tone that passion down. And I'm just not here for it. This is not the job that I want. And it's not the job that you want either, right? Like, nobody wants this job. And just because it's normal for so many designers in companies, big and small, like, it does not make it right. It does not mean we need to settle for this. And it really just broke my heart. I mean, all the people that were agreeing with it, and it captured the exhaustion that so many UXers are feeling. And I feel like so many of us are jaded and cynical and complacent and burnout. And I say UXer, I mean like content strategist, if you're a developer working with designers, like everybody here, right? I'm just saying UXer, but like product owners, product managers, UX writers, y'all are all welcome here. You know it. I'm just using the term UXer. People responsible for the user experience. So like, I believe in tough love. I'm a tough love coach, but my tough love sounds more like, let's not settle for a shit career. Let's step the F up and show people what we can really do. Okay. So I don't want to spend my life frustrated and at odds with my teammates and shipping products I'm just not proud of and nobody's proud of. Like, that is not what I am here for. And if that is what you are experiencing, I want you to know there's another way. Okay. Because I've been thinking about this for a while. Like, what we need right now is for UX to kind of get a little bossy. Like, not bossy in the dictator sense, but bossy in the servant leader sense. Bossy enough to bring teams together with a shared language. Bossy enough to UX the collaboration itself so we can build beautiful products together. Okay, we got to start telling people what to do. And I know that that's going to feel uncomfortable for a lot of us. And we're going to have to stick our necks out because this is not good enough. Okay, so here's some more tough love from me. If you are living in this reality that is described in this post, the result is not going to be a career you're going to look back on with pride and joy. Like, in the short term, it's going to burn you out. Over time, it's going to be death by 1,000 cuts. You're going to get more cynical. You're going to start hating your job a little more every day. You're going to wonder if you need to switch careers. Like, maybe I should just make cabinets for a living, right? Or I should dust off that Etsy shop. Like, oh, AI is going to take my job anyway. All right. So this is again like just so heartbreaking because most of us came into UX with passion and we wanted to solve problems in our own special nerdy way. We wanted to have fun with our teams. We wanted to ship things that people fucking love. That is what you came here for, right? And you can still have it. Okay, so I'm going to actually go through this post. There's 5 big statements in this post, and I just want to break them down one by one so it's really clear the way out of this. Okay, so I can show you that it doesn't have to be like this because this is not the UX design that I have been living. Okay, after I started introducing object-oriented UX back in like 2012 into my work. It was like this before, like the first 5 years of my career. Like, yes, it was, but I was not willing to settle for that. So I created a system to get myself out of that. And I'm sharing it. I'm sharing it with as many people as possible because I want to have fun creating amazing stuff. So here's my rebuttals one by one. Okay, there's 5 main statements in this post, and I'm just going to break it down so I can show you an alternate way. Okay, so the first one, you won't design experiences, you'll design compromises. The delight you imagined will be butchered by scope cuts, strategy shifts, and we need to ship it in 2 weeks so you have 2 days to design it. Okay, all right, here's what I say to that. I see a world where UX designs the collaboration, where we design the way that people come together, so that what ships is actually greater than the sum of its parts, okay? For lack of a better word, that is synergy. How can we actually bring people together so we are all on the same page, all right? So we are all working together. We're working together early. So the delight that you imagined is actually informed by the business and the technology. If the delight you imagined is getting butchered by scope cuts, it's because you didn't understand the scope, okay? Or nobody understood the scope, all right? And then the scope became reality months later or something like that. How can we understand the scope of what we are designing as early as possible? There are ways to do that. We can do that collaboratively so that we all understand the edges of the thing that we're designing. Okay, and sometimes there are going to be scope cuts and you're going to have to cut corners, but it shouldn't be the normal thing. It shouldn't be like everything you design is getting, like, oh, and the strategy shifts. Let's talk about the strategy shifts. Okay, are they strategy shifts or is it that you didn't quite understand the strategy? Your team didn't understand it. The strategy was not communicated to you because maybe you weren't asking the right questions. Y'all, we've got to take some responsibility here. And I'm not talking, some of you like, okay. Some of you were like, no, the strategy really did change on me. Okay. But when we are bringing the people that are determining high level strategy into the process with us, okay, and strategy is being woven into the architecture of what we are building, this is going to happen a whole lot less often. All right. And so many times, it's not really that the strategy is shifting, it's our understanding of the strategy that is shifting. So we want to get really clear on that early on. And there are ways to do that, okay? We can do that. All right, number 2. You're not the voice of the user. You are just a translator. Your job is not to take care of users. It is to reduce their friction, maybe spark a little joy, and ultimately ensure that they stick around long enough for the business to grow. Yeah, that they don't take their credit card out of their account or try to find the cancel button or something. So make sure to hide the cancel button if the business tells you to hide. Okay, I'm being facetious now. Like I said, okay, I got fired up. Okay, so let me address this. You are not the voice of the user. You're just a translator. These are not mutually exclusive. Translating is being the voice of the user, and we can create win-wins where user needs are met so freaking beautifully that the company thrives. That is the power of UX. And going forward, I don't just see us working at a feature level. I see us working at an organizational level, changing how companies collaborate, changing how culture works. UXers, we need to step up to be systems thinkers. Okay? And so being just a translator, it's not being just a translator. Like being a translator is amazing, and it can be so much fun if you have really good tools to do that, right? So that you're not just like rote translating. Good translators translate meaning, okay? And do it in a really, really beautiful way so that everybody can understand, all right? Sign me up. Being a translator is amazing, but it's really only fun and effective when you have the skills to do it. When you can really say, like, this is how I can bring business and tech and users together. All right, number 3. Your process will never look like the double diamond or any other framework. It's more like a spaghetti knot where research is skipped and testing is deferred and features are launched before designs are even finished. Design is never really finished. Okay. Yes, we need a flexible process for sure, but it does not have to be, our process does not have to be chaotic with our hair on fire all the time, okay? And let's talk about that double diamond, all right? So yes, we have to do something in the beginning where we take in a bunch of inputs. Okay, sometimes it's gonna be a bunch of research from 2 years ago, or sometimes it's gonna be not any research at all, or it's just gonna be like a vision deck from the CEO, or it's gonna be some Dropbox folder that we have from a consultancy that did some work 6 months ago. Like, we have to be resourceful and we have to pull all this material together and start making sense of it. Like, that's often what the first diamond looks like, but we can have a process on doing that, right? No matter how, but no matter what our inputs are, okay? So we need something where we come up with like, what are we actually trying to do here? All right, that's just the first diamond. The second diamond is let's come up with some concepts, some different solutions, and then whittle them down and refine one. Like you need to do that. But there is a weak spot in the double diamond. And that is where the spaghetti happens often, okay? That is where the chaos happens. It's like, okay, we've got all these inputs. Now let's just start designing some screens. And then it's that back and forth, and you're playing the Bring Me a Rock game where it's just like, is this what you're looking for? And they're like, no, blah, blah, let's poke some holes in it. And then you go back and you bring them another rock and you're like, what about this rock? That is what is happening in the middle of the double diamond, or when we just kind of skip over. So what we want is a really amazing process for synthesizing all the inputs, everything we know that really helps highlight the unknowns, helps highlight really risky assumptions so that we can ask those good questions about those assumptions, right? And we can maybe sell some research really easily because it's the stakeholders that are coming up with the questions themselves, and they are realizing those assumptions. They're realizing the risk of those assumptions. So we can all say, ooh, like maybe with just a day of research, because we have these really specific questions. It is hard to sell research when you're like, I just need to understand the feelings of the users more. Like, that's not good enough. Nobody's like, what? You just need to understand the feelings? Oh, because it's like important to understand them. Like, what? That is not an argument. We need to be asking questions about the mechanics of the system, about the cardinality, like about really specific use cases. And when we can get our stakeholders and the holders of the purse strings themselves really, really curious about that, and that is our job sometimes, to be like, let's figure out what we don't know. This is all the stuff that we do know. Let's synthesize it into product architecture, okay? Let's synthesize it into what are the main pieces here? What are our questions? How do these pieces connect? Okay, and that's where the Orca process sits. Objects, relationships, calls to action, and attributes. If you start analyzing your O's, your R's, your C's, and your A's, you're going to come up with really good questions, okay? And you are going to be building an architecture together, which is going to hit up against scope questions. Is this object in or out? Is this object phase 2? What about this CTA on the object? You can ask all those questions about how to actually phase a product, how important something is to a user. Maybe you don't actually know. You can put a little question mark by it. And we want a process to do that so that then when we create the designs, they have really good bones to hang on. Okay? That is not too much to ask for, okay? To be able to say, like, I need to take in the inputs. I want to turn it into some architecture collaboratively to make sure we all understand scope. And then I can create some designs from that. And let's do this collaboratively so that we can save time in the long run. All right, because the spaghetti is not effective. Chaos is not effective. Running around with our hair on fire is not effective. Like, what is being described here is not an effective way to build stuff where you're doing all of this rework and you're having all these miscommunications. And if the designers of the product are feeling like we are always like the strategy is always shifting, that's not good. Okay. But we can UX that shit. Okay. We can step up and we can say, ooh, and then what we're going to have to do though is we're going to have to show that it works though. Right. And it's going to have to be fun and it's going to have to like make everybody else feel smarter and more effective. And then people are going to be like, yeah, why would we do this any other way? Okay. All right. Number 4, everyone thinks they can do your job. It's like UX designers and preschool teachers, right? Let's put them in a category. Yeah, we can do that. It's easy. Okay. My rebuttal to this, I have so many thoughts about this, but I will say, here's my tough love. This is because if this is true, if you are feeling this, that everybody thinks that they can do your job, it's because you've been playing small. All right. It's because you've been hand waving a little too much, maybe. All right. Too much weak backup, not enough professional rigor. Professional rigor will bring you respect. Okay. When we learn to guide people through the complexity and surface all these assumptions and ask the right questions, you are going to become indispensable. It will be clear, like, this is like you're making this happen. You are bringing these pieces together. You are surfacing all the questions that might come up 6 months from now. So good that we're asking these questions now. Okay. And not everybody's going to appreciate it. Okay. So not everybody's going to appreciate you shining a light on the dark, dirty corners of complexity and assumptions, right? Not everybody's going to appreciate it. Okay. Some people are going to want to sweep it under the rug and tell you you're overthinking it and tell you that this is not your job to even be thinking about this architecture. Some people are going to pat you on the head and just say, we'll worry about that later, or that's not that important. Okay. And what I would say to them, so one, those are not the type of people you want to impress in your career. The type of people that want to just sweep complexity under the rug and worry about it later. Okay. The people that you want to impress in your career are the people that get that are the people that understand the value of figuring out strategy and scope and structure collaboratively before getting into design. Okay. So if everyone thinks that they can do your job, I mean, it's hard for me to say this. I feel like I'm going to get backlash for it, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's because a lot of UX designers have an undergrad in something else, right? That's like mine is industrial design. It kind of applies, I guess. I mean, I get the basic design process, the double diamond. I get that, but like everything I learned in college, like 80% of it doesn't apply. I know how to make sure things can flat pack nicely for shipping from China, right? Like, does not apply. So we often have a degree in something that is not UX because there's not really UX degrees. Then maybe we do a boot camp or some other training, or we just learn on the job. That was my experience, just learn on the job. I had like a 4-day training course from Accenture early on UX design. And then I was like, boop, go on the job and just look around and see what's happening and plug yourself in as a relatively smart person. And I think that's true for a lot of people. Like, we've learned this on the job. We've watched YouTube videos. We've read some books. We've maybe taken some courses here and there, but like, we're not actually highly trained at breaking down super complex situations and creating an architecture around those systems that make sense to the business and the user and the technology constraints. Like, we're not really trained in that. Unless you've taken the OUX certification course, then you are trained in it. Congratulations. Okay. All right, let me move on to number 5 here. You will not control the product. Your elegant flows will be mangled into something unrecognizable by the time it ships. Okay, so my rebuttal to this is, so what you put on paper, will it be exactly the same? No. Hopefully it will be better than what you put on paper, because when you brought in collaboration and you bring in other experts, they're going to make it even better, not worse. Okay? So if your elegant flow was not really designed with proper collaboration from the business and developers, then actually it's probably not realistic. Okay? So you need tools to bring them in early, to UX that collaboration like a goddamn pro, and coach your team into product architecture that makes glorious sense to everyone. And then you design your flows off of that solid architecture, and everyone's just gonna nod their heads instead of scratch their heads. Okay, so if that resonates with you, I hope it does. I hope it does. I hope this, I know there was a lot of, I got angry and I get fired up about this. I hope it shows you that if you're dealing with any one of these, it really doesn't have to be like this, but it is not our fault that it's like this, but it is our responsibility to make a change and to show our whole industry what we can actually do, what we're capable of, and how much value we can bring. We just can't roll over and accept this, all right? I really don't want us to become jaded and complacent and just okay with this, all right? The world needs problem solvers, highly trained problem solvers, and that can be us, okay? We can go into our teams and not only help create surprise and delight for the users, but actually create products and services and experiences that help people get in and out of technology faster, get the job done, connect with each other, whatever those big goals are, whatever those outcomes are that humanity really needs. Even if that's, quote, just picking out the best car insurance or tracking a delivery or editing a podcast episode. We can use user experience to, in our own, again, nerdy way, make the world a better place, okay? And our teams really need us to step up as the systems designers that we actually are, that we can be, okay? So just let's not accept this chaos and compromise as the norm, all right? Let's get bossy, but in the best way possible, bossy enough to break down silos and build shared language and make everyone in the room feel smarter, actually, okay? They won't even notice it's bossy, all right? So the other cool thing about this is this can also be fun. It can be deeply satisfying. It can create meaning in your work and in your life. And I know this because I've been cultivating this for a decade, testing it with hundreds of people in my certification program, thousands in my wider programs, my workshops. It works, okay? Just go to oaux.com/testimonials. If you don't believe me, you can scroll for days. This is not just me. So I totally get it. If right now UX feels like you're sitting at a puzzle table where all the pieces are face down and some belong to different puzzles and some are missing and some don't even fit, and you're just hovering there with a little flickering flashlight and trying to click a few pieces together, and someone else just comes along and is like, I like them over here instead. Just moving them over there. This is not a fun game. But what if the table was different? There was clear, bright lights overhead that you turned on. You turn on those lights, and then you get all the pieces face up, and missing pieces are just clearly marked so you know exactly where you can go find them. And everyone has the same picture in mind, okay? And you're not just hovering and oh, my little flashlight. You're the head of the table. Not in this dictating sense, but facilitating. And the cool, magical thing is everyone is laughing and collaborating and actually enjoying putting the picture together. That is the game UX can be, and it is available to you. So I found my way out. I refused to settle. I built some processes to change my own work, and then I'm sharing it with y'all and using it in my own work. Okay. So now my team and I, we guide people through this transformation every year. It's 10 weeks, one season. Yes, I'm talking about the OAUX certification. Yes, it takes work. There are growing pains, but you will be supported every step of the way. And if you do not see ROI in the first 3 weeks, we give you your money back. No questions asked. We might ask you for some feedback, but if you don't want to give it, that's okay. just give you your money back, okay? So cohort 11 is $3,000 or $377 a month. We have introduced payment plans. It is our one and only cohort of 2025. We run one a year. It is, at the time of this recording, we are like 60% full. And doors are closing soon. So if you're listening to this in real time, go see if there's any spots left. We close August 29th at 11:59 p.m. That's Friday night, 2025. And if you miss it, it's going to be 2026 when we do this again. So the choice is simple. If you are feeling any of this, like if you are feeling any of these, maybe 1 out of 5, maybe 5 out of 5, all right? If you do not do something drastic, likely things will just be the same in November, okay? But there is a possibility, a banging possibility, that November could feel very different for you. You could be filled with hope. You could already start seeing the change. So many testimonials I get, people start implementing OUX within the week 2, week 3, and they start getting an ROI. I've heard it's week 2 and this course has already paid for itself. All right. Okay. So this is your chance. Let's flip this. So this is your chance. Let's flip the script. Enroll in cohort 11 if it is available to you. If you are not listening to this in real time, get on the wait list for the next year. And I hope to see you in cohort 11 and get to know you. All right. Happy OUXing. Thank you so much for listening to the UX Level Up podcast. If you want to connect with me, Sophia, please follow me on Instagram at SophiaVUX, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Sophia Prater. I'm pretty easy to find there. Our music was brought to you by Ruby Vell, courtesy of Sugaroo Records. Thanks again for listening.